Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and something I felt I needed to address is something I made a post on the Facebook fan page the other day, and it's something a lot of people have been wondering about because people have realized I'm not vegan, and I haven't been vegan for a very, very long time now. And some points I need to address. A lot of things come down to diet adherence and being able to follow a lifestyle and a diet that you can work with. And I know a lot was made about it when I had said before that my ex-wife had been a factor in me going vegan. And contrary to what a lot of people were saying, it had nothing to do with getting pussy. It had to do with the fact that when you live someone and they're an important part of your life, their morals and their happiness is going to affect you at least on some level. I don't care who you are, either you're going to make certain compromises in your life and be at least willing to look at what they are doing and look at their opinion and their feelings, or you're going to need to cut them out of your life. And anyone who's been in any sort of relationship, whether it's a romantic one or a parent or a brother or sister or something, realizes this. These things affect you, particularly when you live with somebody. Now, that being said, what I found as a vegan, my biggest issue, I wanted it to work so bad because of the ethical reasons and making my life better, my daily life at home a lot better. I really tried to make it work so hard. I tried to be a true believer so hard, but the problem I ran into is that I was hungry all the time as a vegan. No matter how much food I ate, even raw vegan food, I was hungry all the time. And I would gain weight because I would eat 5,000 or 6,000 calories a day and try to tell myself I'm only eating 4,000, and the scale weight would go up. I would add more cardio in. I was up to where I was lifting every day and doing 2 hours of cardio a day just to try to control the caloric intake from my hunger as a vegan. And I mean, that could even be raw fruit with some veggies thrown in. I would eat like 3 watermelons in a day and be hungry and still go to bed hungry. And when you're putting up with something like that, it will grate on you and it will affect your mental state. It will affect your quality of life because you walk around feeling bloated and then you get hungry again. And then you go to bed hungry at night. I simply couldn't get over my meat cravings. No matter what I tried and what foods I tried to do, whether I did keto vegan, high carb vegan, and my performance suffered for it. And trying to be a true believer, in order to continue to make the progress I needed to make, I kept upping the dose on my drugs, to the point to where I was using, in order to be able to compete as a power lifter, I was not only weighing more than I should because I was carrying too much fat and then carrying too much water weight from the drugs, that I was using an amount of drugs I was no longer even comfortable with just to try to be able to compete in my sport. And yeah, I know people say, well, there's some other vegan powerlifters out there. You talk to them, they're on shitloads of gear. And no, I'm not going to play the game like everyone else of, oh, you got to claim to be natural on YouTube even when using grams of gear to make it. I'm not going to play that bullshit game. Everybody who's making money on YouTube is on fucking gear. Deal with it. I dropped the whole approach and I ended up going keto. And as you guys saw, I dropped large amounts of weight. In fact, I dropped all that weight and trained and did everything else on complete TRT. No extra hormones or drugs added in the mix. Just my prescription dose of testosterone, what I get legally from a doctor. And I dropped all the way down to about 192 from walking around at 235 as my walk around weight, carved up as a vegan. And everyone noticed the weight loss, everyone noticed it looked like a little bit of muscle loss until I maybe added some supplementation back in, which we won't go into what it was, but I can assure you it was a tiny, tiny fraction of what I was using as a vegan. All of a sudden I gained 2 pounds. I continue to lose fat. My strength goes back up to the same strength level I was at walking around at 235 pounds, but I'm 195 now. So as an athlete, and in terms of my health markers and my overall well-being and my satiety and the way that I feel and the energy that I have on a day-to-day basis, the ketogenic diet with large amounts of meat in it has proven to be far more effective for me than a vegan diet. So there would be no sense for me to stay vegan. My performance, and particularly my performance as an athlete in my sport and my overall health and well-being, has dramatically improved as a result of it. So that being said, for my own personal well-being, it would be absurd for me to not be on the diet I'm doing instead of the vegan diet. And I had to accept a simple reality. I seem to be part of that small demographic of people athletes who do very, very well on ketogenic diets. I always tell guys that the majority of athletes will do well on high carb diets, and that still holds true. 70 to 80% of you out there will do really well on high carb diets. I seem to thrive more on a high fat, low carb diet, and I don't even do carb ups hardly anymore. I go 3 to 4 weeks at a time without even doing a carb up. I'm doing SKDs, and then you guys saw how I trained the other day. That was 3 weeks of no carbs. And so for me personally, I seem to thrive in that environment. I'm the exception to the rule, not the norm, just like, a fourth to a fifth of lifters and athletes out there are. And there is some data emerging showing that some athletes just perform better while doing high-fat, low-carb diets. And I think in my case, the results speak for themselves, that for me, a ketogenic style diet seems to be vastly superior to a vegan diet. And I'm not telling you that if you function as an athlete and you're winning and you're dominating your sport as a high-carb vegan, then by all means continue to do so. If you feel good, you're not getting cravings, you feel full and satisfied, you're not getting fat from it, eating enough to be satiated all the time, and you're winning, then by all means continue to be a vegan. I wouldn't tell you to quit doing that. But if you function best and get the exact same effect from doing a ketogenic diet, then I would advise you to do that. You need to find an eating method that works for you personally and gives you the best performance as an athlete and gives you the best energy, satiety, and well-being. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.